Hello, hi. Welcome to the session. Today we'll discuss about RMA security recommendations. Myself, Dr. P. Shivaranjani, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Application. So quite easier topic for you to learn what is meant by an RMA security. So these are some of the recommendations you have to followed or provided for building your RMA application. The first thing is it has been categorized into 6 to 7 steps. So the first thing is you have to improve your security of your RMA application. Then you have to follow these recommendations. So the first thing is you have to secure your coding guidance of for your Java SE. So here it has been categorized into several principles. The first one is fundamentals. So in fundamentals, you have to concentrate on your prefer to have a obviously no flaw rather than no obvious flaw. Then you have to design your API to avoid security concern. Then you have to avoid duplication, restriction privileges, establishing a trust boundaries, minimizing the number of permission checks, encapsulate document specific security related information, security threat party code. So this is the fundamental thing you have to keep in your mind. The next one is denial of services. You should be aware of an activity that may be disproportional resources. Releasing the resources in all cases. Resource limit check should not suffer from the integer overflow. Implementing a robust error or an exception handling for the services. The next one is confidential informations. Parage sensitive informations from an exceptions. Do not log highly sensitive informations. Consider purging highly sensitive information from the memory after use. In the case of injections and inclusions, you have to generate a valid formatting, avoid dynamic SQLs, XML and HTML generation requires care, avoid untrusted data on the command line, restricting XML inclusions, care with BMP files, disable HTML display in Swing component, take care interpreting untrusted codes, prevent injection of exceptional floating point values. And in the case of accessibility and extendability, you should have a limited access of classes, interfaces, methods, and fields. Then the next thing is limited access of accessibility of your packages, isolated unrelated code, you should limit your exposure of class loader instant. Then you have to limit your extensibility of the class and methods. Then you have to understand how your superclass can affect your subclass behaviors. So this is your input validations. So first thing, you have to validate your input. Then you have to validate your output from the untrusted object as an input. Then you have to define the wrappers around your native methods. The next thing is mutability. So here you have to prefer immutability for your value types. Create a copy of mutal output values. Create a safe copy of your mutal and subclasses input values. Then you have to support copy functionality for the mutal class. Do not trust identity equality when overridable on the interface references objects. Treat parsing input to the untrusted object as an output. You have to treat your output from the untrusted object as an input. Define wrapper method around your modifiable internal state. Make a public static field final. Ensure the public static final field values are constant. Do not explore mutable statistic, and also do not explore your modifiable collections. So the next one is your object constructions. Avoid exploring construction of sensitive classes. Prevent the unauthorized construction of sensitivity classes. Defend against the partial initialization instant of non-financial final classes. Prevent constructor from calling method that can be overridden. Defense against the cloning of non-final classes. Next one is serialization and deserialization. Avoid serialization for the security sensitive classes. Guard sensitive data during serializations. view deserialization the same as an object constructions, duplicate the security manager check enforced in a class during the serialization and deserialization, understand the security permissions given to the serialization and deserialization, filter untrusted serial data. The second step is for the second thing you have to keep in mind for the RME recommendation is you have to make use of your always run your security manager by using your RMA either on the client or the server. So here in the So always run a security program when using an RMA controls on the client and the server. So the security manager is an object of the security manager of the type a security manager. So to obtain a reference to this objects, invoke a method called as system.getSecurityManager. So in this particular statement, I have used security manager APPSM. You're getting the particular security manager inside your system. If there is no security manager, this method will return a null value. Once the application has reference to the security manager of the object, it can request the permission to the specific thing. Many classes in the standard library will do this. For example, system.exit will terminate your code, and the Java virtual machines will exit your status, invoking the security manager check exit to ensure that the current thread has permission to shut down the application and all. The security manager class defines many other methods used to verify other kinds of operations. In addition to that, it can also use a method called as check method that represents the set of the operations that are already subject to production of the security manager. Typically, an application do not have directly invoked any check methods. Many actions that are routines with the security managers can throw a security exceptions which runs with the security manager. This is true even when invoking a method that is not documented as throwing security exceptions. So here I have used reader equal to new reader file. That is I have given a file name called as x0.txt. So in the absence of the security manager, this statement execute without error provides an this particular class has been exist and it has been readable. But suppose this statement is inserted in the web applet, which typically runs under the security manager, that does not allow the file inputs. So these are some of the recognizing security violations. So these are some of the permission tag which will help you to allow you the permissions over the accessing control. The first one is your access clipboard. Second one is access event queue, access system tray. The next permission target is create robot. So this will help you to create a code of your native levels. And the next one is your full screen exclusive, listen to all AWT events. The next parameter is permission parameter is your read display pixels, replacing the keyboard focus manager. You're setting the applet stub, setting the windows always on top. Right, so this is next one is you're showing the window without a warning banner. So these are some of the security measures which has been followed in your security by the help of your security manager. The next one is the third thing is you have to establish a reasonable security policies, that is by using your socket permission, that is granting your socket permission and allow a listen, accept, connect and resolve actions along the host communicating with RMI. Do not have the security policy grant all permissions. The fourth one is if RM is being used only for communications among JVM on the local host, restrict communications to the local only. Accomplish this by specifying the appropriate socket permission in the security policy file as described already. Alternatively, you can use your RMI application directly to restrict your connections only to the local host. The next thing is you have to ensure the value of the Java .rma.security used code base only property is true, so which is default value. Setting this property to the false enable the remote code loading, which increase the level of the security risk to the system. The next thing is running your RMA over SSL or TSL and requires an authentications for both the server and the client. So for this, you have to make use of this particular classes. The first one is JRMI client socket factory, and next one is JRMI server socket factory classes. Then you have to use your Java RMA with SSL. The next thing is you have to make use of a secure socket connection extension, that is JSSE thing. The next one you have to do is you have to develop a JSSE sample code. So that's it. Thank you all.